Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from Alpus Astrology at alpusastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today I'm going to do my take on the astrology for December 2022. But before I get into that, I want to remind you that I did do my 2023 year ahead for all signs, as well as pointing out some of the significant transits that will happen next year. I'll put the link here below. In December, we're also going to have Jupiter ingressing back into Aries, and I've done a video on that too. So I'll put that video below in the text box as well for you. So when we start off December 2022, the 2nd or 3rd of December, we have Neptune going a direct. So this is important. Neptune covers a lot of things. At its best, Neptune really speaks to our spirituality. It's compassion, that type of thing. But it can also bring in a lot of confusion, maybe even delusions. So I would say what's great about this Neptune going direct at the beginning of December is that a lot of things will start clearing up. I mean, literally, we may see the mist, open up as the sun comes on it and start revealing what's behind things. So I think that's an important thing, that a lot of things that were not clear to us, or maybe we've been waiting for things to be cleared or cleared up. This beginning of December starts that process. Now, it will take some time for Neptune, which will now go direct at 22 degrees of Pisces, to really get on full speed, right? If you look at an ephemeris, you'll see that Neptune stays at 22 degrees pretty well all of December and a little bit beyond too. So our first full moon will be in Gemini. So we don't have any eclipses this month. But we got some significant moons that are happening. I think most of this is pretty positive. But this full moon in Gemini is on the 7th of December at 16 Gemini and 1 minute. It's at 8:08 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And of course, at all full moons, we know that the moon in one sign will have the sun in the opposite. So we have the sun at 16 degrees of Sagittarius. Now, what's interesting in terms of, I guess the word is volatility, we have a Mars retrograde going on, and that's in Gemini too. Well, it's going to be conjuncting this full moon. And of course, if it conjuncts the full moon, we know it opposes the sun. So I would say just this aspect alone can certainly bring in irritations. Now, they may not be long lasting. The moon itself moves relatively quickly, and we're really talking in terms of a direct influence, the moon conjuncting with a retrograde Mars, right? So might be a little bit of irritation going on. There might be people on the news, for instance, being irritated about this or that, or delivering irritating messages. That could happen as well. Just take care. Anything with Mars, you don't want to be doing fast actions like driving fast or handling tools when you're under the influence, that sort of thing. But what we have too here is two planets that are conjunct, but they're in different signs. And we have Venus in Sagittarius, and we have Mercury at 1 degree of Capricorn, and these two are conjunct. And I thought this was very nice. So this, compared to the irritation that same day, Venus is going to provide some optimism because it's in Sagittarius, and Mercury is just going to be there to deliver the message. So it's kind of like there may be more than one message delivered with an element of optimism. Specifically, it might come from a woman or women, but it ties in with the future a little bit here too, right? Because when we look at Sagittarius, there's many things it refers to, but I got the impression here that it's again referring to our future, some good news about our future, and hopefully individually we will have that as well, right? Now, this Mercury is going to be at 1 degree of Capricorn, and remember that as I keep talking through and get onto the new moon, because the new moon in Capricorn in December is also going to be at 1 degree. And it's going to be at that new moon that something will probably get a chance to be new. So I guess watch what kind of optimistic messages come in, messages specifically say from female about your future. That could be important with regards to you making a new start with that information, that message, even that thought once we get into the new moon later on in the month, just before Christmas time. But certainly for Geminis, this is going to be a wrap-up. And hopefully this will be a wrap-up that's positive and helps you move forward in some way. I'll talk more about individual signs towards the end of this video. All right. So Jupiter now is going to ingress into Aries. And that'll be on the 21st of December. That's at 0 degrees of Aries. Now recall that we've already had a Jupiter in Aries in 2022, kind of during June and July of this year. So for anybody that has either planets or say their own Jupiter in Aries, if you've got anything between 0 degrees of Aries and 8 degrees of Aries, you're going to get a third time that Jupiter will be conjuncting those. If it's in Aries, it'll be a conjunction. If it's in Libra, it'll be an opposition. So this is positive. I see Jupiter in Aries, again, kind of reinforcing the messages of that full moon. A positive message about a new path forward in our future. Right? So the new path is all about Aries. The future is about Jupiter. But this also speaks to foreign people, foreign countries. And I really hope that some of this truly comes through for some foreign countries that are undergoing a lot of difficulty, right? But it's also about, say, those foreign countries or foreign people deciding to do it their way, right? So Aries is all about doing things my way. They want to be an individual. They don't want to have to account for other people necessarily. And they're not afraid about taking action to move forward into their future. That's what that really speaks to. Now, Jupiter will be staying in Aries right through mid-May next year. And as I mentioned, I've got a video on this below. I go into all the sun signs and ascendants. The next day, we are going to have then the sun moving into Capricorn on the 22nd of December. So that's 0 degrees of Capricorn. So then we start, certainly for the next while or so, we've got the sun in a more conservative sign, a more traditional sign, right? All right, we talked about the new moon. Now I'm going to give a little more details about it. So that new moon in Capricorn is on the 23rd of December. It's at 1 Capricorn, 32 minutes, at 2:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, notably, this 1 degree will square a newly ingressed Jupiter in Aries. As I've mentioned in other videos, it's pretty hard to get a bad aspect with Jupiter, even squares. But I do see this as a potential challenge, not a roadblock, but a challenge for maybe some of those maybe foreign people, maybe us as individuals, may have some challenge they've got to overcome before they can push forward into that new path. Now, this may specifically relate to Capricorns, of course, because this new moon is in Capricorn. And so this also heralds your new year, Capricorn. This is your whole new start, a kickstart for your new year. So happy new year to all my Capricorn viewers. The other thing that goes along with this new moon in Capricorn is 3 planets will also be accompanying this new moon and sun. And that's Venus is going to be at 16 Capricorn, Mercury will be at 21 Capricorn, And we still have Pluto, and that's at 27 Capricorn. So these are all loosely conjunct. And for me, I thought this really did say that there could be some very powerful news with regards to females. And in particular, we're talking about archaic ways. Now, we already know all this is going on anyway. But, Capricorn refers to the old ways of doing things. It's traditions. It can be the old guard, that type of thing. It likes to do things the way we always did them. Well, this is kind of a big challenge here at the new moon, because the new moon is asking us to do new things with those old things, those old traditions, those old rules and regulations. And the support for that newness is really emphasized by the Venus, Mercury, and Pluto, all in Capricorn too. At the same time, that Venus will be trining Uranus. And so I felt this was like breakthrough, break free. And so there may be some real breakthroughs with regards to, I think, females. And also our value system too, where we let go of this old way of valuing people, valuing things, even valuing our earth, right? But with the Venus trine Uranus, there could be some unexpected things that come up regarding females. But it could also be that some new ideas come through with regards to our money systems. Now, this is a trine, this Venus trine Uranus. So there may be some unusual happenings with regards to our money as well. And certainly if you've got anything around these degrees, you can have a more direct effect, right? Now, the new moon, like any moon, moves on pretty quickly, right, through the day. And so that new moon, probably around the next day, really, so we're talking about the 24th of December, Christmas Eve, that new moon will exactly conjunct Pluto. And so I think this might be a little more challenging with regards to Pluto, those people in power, and in Capricorn, those people in power in ruling all our structures, etc., maybe even our banks, will come under an emotional appeal to change. And it might even be, I'm getting this intuition, that we may hear some surprising news about how banks are going to do something new with regards to processing our money and keeping our money. But this is a pretty powerful thing. If you've got anything, say, around 27 of Capricorn, you will have the new moon that's gone on the next day to conjunct that Pluto. So these are very deep feelings and deep emotions, that's for sure. It can also stir up our psychological selves too, right? All right, so on the 28th of December, we have a lovely Venus sextile Neptune. Now, we do get this different times through the year, so it's not like we just have it once in the year. But for me, as we get towards the end of our calendar year of 2022, I think this provides some real inspiration. And it's almost like I get this vision of stars in the sky almost. So, I mean, Venus is a star in the sky. And Venus providing opportunities to be inspired. So as we roll into the next year, we can feel inspired that things are going to turn out. We're going to be getting opportunities. And certainly for those that are looking for developing their spirituality, we've got that Neptune course that's pulsating away, right? Now for others, especially if you've got something direct, say around the 22 degree mark of either Capricorn or Pisces, this could bring in a soulmate of some sort, or at least provide potential to connect with someone at a very deep level of love, right? Where you maybe recognize yourself in another person and vice versa. Quite a very special transit. So if you wanted to do something that was pleasant, inspiring, and full of love and compassion, the 28th of December might be a good time to do it. On the 29th of December, we will have at 24 degrees of Capricorn, we will have Mercury going retrograde. Now, it will go direct on the 18th of January at 8 degrees of Capricorn. And recall that just prior to the 18th of January, we will have that Mars in Gemini go direct. So these are going to be, I think, significant times to, really be able to move forward when the Mars goes direct and then when Mercury goes direct as well. So if you've got anything around these degree points, 24 or 8 degrees of Capricorn, you may be more influenced by this retrograde. It really refers to, just like I mentioned with the new moon, Saturn, for instance, rules Capricorn. So it's all about kind of maybe rewriting, rethinking some rules and regulations, just generally speaking in terms of an influence. That's what I would say about this. But as always, signing contracts and things like that, if you can hold off, it might be a good idea. It's not the end of the world. We still have to get on with our lives. It's only, I think, if you have the real exact degree points here, right? Now, as Mercury does go retrograde on the 29th of December, it is conjunct Venus. So we're looking at 23, 24 degrees of Capricorn. And then, of course, we can say, by extension, that's not far off Pluto. So it also is going to be conjuncting Pluto a few days later. The Venus will be. Mercury, of course, is going backward. At this day, so again, we're kind of coming into that whole news about females, news about our value system, news about our money, right? And as I mentioned, this is around the 23, 24 degree of Capricorn. So to have real influence, you would have to actually have these degree points activated, right? But certainly when Venus on its own, a few days later, goes to conjunct Pluto, I think this is going to have Venus, women, literally being given back their power. And how appropriate is that at the end of a year of women fighting so hard for power, that this could be potentially a time when they get to take their power back. And individually, you may be doing this too. For others, gosh, Venus conjunct Pluto could also bring in big money, right? I mean, the Pluto part is big money, and of course, Venus could be money. All right, I'm going to leave that as my introduction. And next, I'm going to go on to do your sun signs and or ascendants. For Scorpio, the full moon is in your 8th house. And of course, it puts the sun in the 2nd house. So this 2nd, 8th house axis is a money axis. It emphasizes savings. It emphasizes taxes, credit cards, mortgages, shared resources. And so for some Scorpios, you literally may just be retiring and starting to draw on pensions and 401ks at this time. And that would be a very reasonable way to have this full moon, right? Where you conclude maybe your corporate life and say, I'm going to start taking it a little easy here and start utilizing all those funds that I've been putting away for my retirement. For others, it may just be that something comes to light with regards to, say, investments that you have to take care of. For others, you may just, be pulling the trigger with regards to the income that you're earning That's the second house where the sun is. And you say, you know what? I'm going to start putting more money into my savings, my 401k, my investments, that type of thing. Still others, this could see the end of paying off a credit card, paying off your mortgage. Full moon in the 8th house? Yeah. In fact, if that is something you want to do, that would be nice to aim for if time-wise it works out, to ending something like a credit card bill or a mortgage or paying off your taxes. That full moon there in your 8th house on the 7th of December would be awesome to do that. Now, the new moon in Capricorn will be in your 3rd house, and that sextiles your sign. So this brings to light all sorts of communications and a new start. So you're going to have opportunities here to have a new start. For some, it might be a new start in writing. For others, it might be a new commercial venture or sales venture that you take on. It can also just mean that you're going to be communicating more with your siblings, or your neighborhood becomes more active for you for some reason. You could even, the 3rd house also rules like, easy courses, like you're getting your first degree or associate's degree, or even just getting some certificates. So this would also be a good way, and Capricorn's kind of the traditional way of doing it. So for some Scorpios, if you wanted to just add something to your resume, do that at this new moon, where you've got great support. You have opportunities, that's for sure. Lots of opportunities here. For others, this might just mean that you have to, for some reason, start doing a lot more traveling around your neighborhood. So the 3rd house also rules travel, but it's more your neighborhood, right? So something may come up that requires you to make more trips around your neighborhood for some reason. You're still hosting till July. The South Node's in your sign, Scorpio. And you do have a final eclipse in your sign. That'll be in May. We won't have the final eclipse in the series in Taurus, Scorpio until October. But your final one in Scorpio is going to be in May, and I'll talk more about that probably May time period in that video for you. But that'll be your kind of final tie-up. You might want to look at Scorpio 2, my video that I did for the year ahead. I think that might help you as well. But you've been letting go of things, literally purging things in your life. And that's all going to be wrapped up pretty soon, probably July time period, for you to be freed up in the summertime, right? But right now, you're going to be given opportunities at that new moon to get some tie-ups happening with regards to some kind of writing project, communications, or a commercial venture. Good luck, Scorpio. All right, so that's my wrap up for, I guess, this year. And I'm wishing everyone just a happy holiday season, whatever you do, whatever is important to you. Friends and family are always important. And enjoying yourself during this month of December, I think, it should be right at the foremost of everyone's mind, no matter what sign you are. We've had a couple of years where we've not been able to be with loved ones, friends, and family. Really put the effort this holiday season to make those connections, right? I'm wishing everyone lots of luck, lots of benefits, and lots of happiness. Take care, and we'll talk to you next year.